Hey everyone, it's time again for another 30-minute slowdown. And our topic today is dignity. It's what drives you. And so just as a reminder, last week we talked about some 7 negative emotions that serve us in the moment. It gives us an adrenaline rush. It makes us feel like we're doing something, like anger and resentment, feeling overwhelmed, like the world's on your shoulders. Or how about complacency, just saying, screw it, and taking no responsibility for getting over anything. These negative emotions make us feel empowered in the moment, but then have nasty side effects that lead to poor health because they break down the immune system and your nervous system. They push people away, and no one wants to be around that. I mean, let's face it, negativity is something that we don't need. We need more positivity. And when I say positivity, I don't mean some Pollyanna, yay type of attitude. I'm talking about an attitude of hope, an attitude of calm, an attitude of we will persevere like we always have, because the data would show that America always jumps back. The world always pops back. Life does go on, and that's the facts. And so in the moment, we struggle and we endure and we do what we can do to address what's happening. And so today I want to talk about what is it within us that gives us strength? What is it within us that helps us break through those negative emotions to focus more on who we really are as people? And how do we take control of our thoughts and define what this really means? And how do we live a more stress-free life? And so today I want to share with you a major discovery that just in our 20 years of research that has led us to dignity. And at the end, I want to provide you a gift for some of you who are new to this. I know some of you listening have been partnering with us or have been a part of our world for a long time, and that's awesome. And for those of you who are fairly new, we're going to introduce to you the power of dignity and how your dignity matters. And if you live your dignity traits, the world comes alive. So let's go through it. First of all, I want to define or give a case for dignity. And the case I'm going to give you is based on some research, like I said, that we've done here at Prophit Co. And we hang our shingle on dignity. It starts and ends with dignity. So if I asked you this question, what is the number one cause of sickness and death in the United States? Isn't that a nice, happy idea for a Thursday? What would you answer? Like, what is the number one cause of sickness and death in the United States? Some people will point out an illness and say that's it. But the answer may startle you. It's stress. Can you believe that? Stress is the number one cause of sickness and death in the United States. I said this last week. I talked about the statistic of 75 to 90% of all primary care visits are stress related. 75 to 90%. I remember when starting Joe Kiedinger Advertising, which was the name of our company back in 2002, and it was my wife and I. And Danica has always done the financials and now is the vice president and CFO and pretty much runs operations. Thank you. And but in the day, it was myself trying to start this idea of a business where she could do the billing and that sort of thing. We had little babies crawling around, and I had to do all the tasks. I had to, send out the actual billing, and I had to meet with the clients and talk about all the stuff that had to be done. I had to meet with media reps and arrange media schedules, and I had to do all these tasky things. And I ended up having, I won't say a nervous breakdown, that might be extreme, but I ended up in the hospital twice, thinking I was suffering from some sort of heart challenge. And the fact was, when the doctor looked at all the tests they did, they said, "You're absolutely fine." It was me freaking out because my dignity is more about relationships and using my strength to connect people than it is all the nitty-gritty task things. And I could do nitty-gritty task things, but I learned over time that I couldn't sustain it, and it emotionally rocked my world. And that's what we're going to be talking about, why dignity matters. And so if we know that stress is the number one cause of sickness and death, then what is the number one cause of stress? What is it that causes the stress? Now, I talk about this in speeches and trainings, and the response I typically get when I ask this question is my job, the workplace. Well, the workplace can cause stress, but most people who are energized with what they do actually are energized with what they do. It's not the actual workplace or the type of work that causes them stress. It's the people. It's the people and the misunderstanding that affect us and cause the stress. And so it's not necessarily this thing you do. It's unless the thing you do goes against the very fiber of who you are. And we'll get into that. But dignity violations is the number one cause of stress. Dr. Donna Hicks, she wrote the book called Dignity, and I gave her a call. She's a professor at Harvard. And she wrote that dignity violations are equivalent physiologically to a knife-wielding attack. I'll read that again. Dignity violations are equivalent physiologically to a knife-wielding attack. What she's saying is the test they did is when someone feels insulted or undignified, their pupils dilate, their capillaries restrict, they get sweaty palms, they feel sick in their stomach, they get all, right, tense and anxious. It's the exact same reaction as if someone was coming after them physically. And I find that interesting. We've often said that words you say die with you that day, but they live in another person forever. The positive words and the negative. So negative words, what you say can rip someone's dignity to cause them to feel fear and anxiety, and reversely, it can cause them to feel hope and safety. And so if we get around tackling this challenge of stress, we have to identify that dignity violations are the number one cause, and they're done in very subtle ways. They're done in the office by just asking simple questions where the one person is like, I just want to ask a question. The other person's threatened by that question. They think that the question is insinuating that they're incompetent, or the question is insinuating that you're better than me, or it's crazy. And so, but it's scientifically proven. And so we have to get after dignity, because stress is the number one health epidemic in America, and dignity is the antidote. So what we try to do is why we exist, is to spread dignity to the marketplace. And I'm honored for those of you taking the 30 minutes today to connect and learn more about dignity, because it is the antidote to a better world. We are convinced of it. So what is its definition? Well, if you simply research dignity and you Googled it, the definition is to be worthy of honor and respect. So let's talk about that. To be worthy of honor and respect. So worthy is I choose you, and you're already chosen. If you've ever had a mentor in your life, a person who connected with you and put their arm around you, right? And started coaching you and guiding you and took an interest in you. If you were fortunate to have had that experience, you know what it's like to be dignified, because you feel they're saying you're worthy. You're worthy of my time. You're worthy of my advice. You're worthy of my guidance. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be kind to you. I'm not going to be nice. I'm going to tell you when you're not doing so good, and I'm going to tell you when you are doing good. That's kindness. Nice is pretending not to see the bad behavior that's happening. But if you've had that mentor, you know what it's like to feel honor and respect. You have nothing but respect for that person. And did you notice, because you felt honor and respect, the topic of what they were coaching you on became completely interesting. Completely interesting. My mentor was in the grocery business. And so because he put his proverbial arm around me and guided me through business and understanding his world and leadership and culture, I all of a sudden found produce and meat departments to be fascinating, because people don't care about what you know until they know you care. They just don't care about what you know until they know first that you care. And when you dignify another, it's to give honor and respect. To dignify is a verb. Dignity is a noun. So to give it, that's how you dignify another. So let's get into some of the science of dignity. And when we were researching this, we thought of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Remember, it was like a triangle, a little simple triangle. And I have it here up on my screen. The first step was physiological needs. I think we learned this in the 6th grade or something. But you had physiological needs, like a human being needs to have their basic needs met. And there's 2 basic needs, physical and then safety and security, right? We can't live in fear all the time. And then you get to psychological needs. That's 2 more layers of Maslow. It's love and belonging, and then self-esteem. So you have to feel loved. You have to feel part of a tribe. You have to feel this, I matter, worthy of honor and respect. Dignity, ring a bell. And then self-actualization was on the peak of his triangle. And that is self-fulfillment needs. I know who I am. I'm all put together. I have emotional intelligence. I can handle negativity when it comes to me. I know what's real and what's fake. That is self-actualization. Now, I know it's kind of small over here. I'll lead you through it. But we thought, what if there was an employee hierarchy of needs just for employees? Well, the first would be financial needs, right? I need to make a living to sustain myself. The world runs with money, and I need to be paid something that's fair to whatever the economic conditions are for the job I'm in, right? The job market really dictates kind of the range of where you'd fit into that, whether you're a dentist or whether you're a bagger at a grocery store. There's an expectation of wage, and it has to be fair among the different levels of work. Then you have physical needs. Okay, so now I'm here, you're paying me a fair wage, and now I need the stuff to be successful. So that's physical needs. So you need your computer, you need it to be 72 degrees, you need a place to park, you need restrooms, you need all the stuff for that employee to succeed at whatever job you're asking them to do. And that's where most employers stop, and that's pretty easy to get after, those 2 things. We have great benefit packages that we give folks to help with their physical needs and so forth. But if you notice, the next 3 are all emotional. Just like in Maslow's. Emotional is a third. Emotional needs. Needs like appreciation. Needs like accountability. Talk to me straight. Be kind, not nice. Those are needs, not wants. I need feedback to grow. Where am I doing well? Where am I not doing so well? I need that. Next, I need to feel respected. I need to feel that I'm respected for the job I'm doing. I'm respected as a person. I'm not coming in to work and people are disrespecting me. That's critical. And the highest on the pinnacle, I would say, is dignity. I feel dignified for who I am and for what I do. So respect, I'm respected for what I do. Dignity, I'm honored for who I am. I'm completely worthy to be here, and I'm getting better. I'm good enough, and I'm expected to get better. And so that's our employee hierarchy of needs as we studied dignity. Now, if you recall, I did a diagram of the brain. No artist, remember that. All right, and it was like a bullseye deal. And I talked about the areas of the brain. If you recall, for those of you who tuned in during this episode, the center of the brain, I'm just calling the brainstem. All right, BS. No, I won't put that down. Just brainstem, all right? And that is the unconscious workings of the body, the heart beating, the breathing when you sleep, all that type of stuff. And then there's the outer cortex version. That's the logical side of the brain. That's your sanity, left hemisphere, right hemisphere, right? And then we talked about the middle brain, which is the limbic system. Limbic system, all right? The limbic system is your emotional side of the brain, where you feel. It has no language. So think about that. The limbic system doesn't process language. The cerebral cortex does. It's the cortex that memorizes and learns different languages and knows how to speak and express itself logically. When you are emotionally rattled, it's hard to express how you're feeling. So consider this. What people say they don't mean, and what they mean they can't say when it's emotional. When I'm feeling emotional, You might say to me, why don't you tell me that? But unless I'm aware, I literally don't know how to express emotions. I'll give you an example. If I were to ask you to think of the person you love more than anything in the world, it could be a child, it could be a partner, but someone you deeply love. And then I ask you to describe that person, which I'll give you about 30 seconds. I want you to pick a person in your mind that you absolutely love. And then what I want you to do is write adjectives to describe them. Okay? Do that in your paper right now. I'll give you like 15 seconds. I'm going to go get a drink of water. I'll be right back. Okay? Adjectives describing why you love the person you love. Why do you love them? Write it down. Alrighty. So now you should be sitting with 3 to 5 words describing the person you love, like why you love them, right? Why do you love your spouse? Now, typically, I will see things like they're always there for me, they balance me, they're non-judgmental, they accept me for who I am. Things like that is what I typically hear, and you may have things like that on your list. Well, congratulations. You just described my Labrador, Harvey. Harvey is always there for me. He's dependable. He balances me. He always accepts me for who I am. He's non-judgmental. My point is this. Because love is such a strong, positive emotion, and it lives in the limbic system, you could not possibly express how you love someone. It's too intense. There's no logical words for that. And the best you can come up with is describing a dog. Now, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of you folks probably have Fluffy on your list, right? Your dog is the one you love. I get it. I love my dog too. And there are no words to describe the intense love that you have for a child or for someone who's your true love. My point is, because language, feeling is in the limbic system, love, hate, anger, joy is all here. And the cerebral cortex is your logical sanity. If you allow your emotions to run your life, you go into insanity because they're not always real. Negative emotions are lying to you. Someone's out to get you, this and that, and it creates mountains out of molehills. And you can watch past episodes where I explain all that. So what we're focusing on is dignity. So consider this. Dignity is in the limbic system. Dignity are positive feelings about yourself. They're values. So you have dignity, and those are personal values. Here's what we discovered. There's 56 of these personal values. We call them dignity traits. And every one of us is driven by 5 of them. Every one of us is driven by 5. And those 5 dignity traits help us succeed in this uncertain time. They help us overcome. We all these like superhero gifts of dignity. There's 56, and your top 5 make up who you are. And it just starts to set you free when you can recognize them, acknowledge them, and be consciously deciding to live them every day. Instead of focusing on those 7 negative motivations like angry, overwhelmed, and hate, and all this ugliness, focus on your light. Focus on the dignity drivers. It's what drives you. Dignity, it's what drives you. Before, dignity had no language. It was simply this word, worthy of honor and respect. Now we have tangible dignity traits that have been discovered as emotional drivers that drive you to be successful. Things like patience. Yes, patience is a dignity trait. Some of you succeed through your gift of patience, where other people go, gosh, I wish I could be as patient as you. Sometimes it's misunderstood, as if you were just kind of like, whatever, I'm not going to take action. And that's not the truth, is it? You know what patience is for you. Some of you, which is the opposite of patience, is moves quick to action. Some of you have the ability to dive in and take care of things. That is a great gift. And so when you live that and you can move things fast, you get all fired up. And that's awesome. We all have different gifts. Some of you have great sense of humor as a gift. Some of you are curious, artistic. We have all different ways that these dignity traits come to life within us. And I want to share with you how I discovered them. My son, Alex, I met when he was 3, so he's my stepson. And I met Danica, the love of my life. And Alex was like the Jerry Maguire kid. You know, like that movie Jerry Maguire where you got Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger, right? And they have this little boy with the blonde hair, and he's got those big glasses, and he's just charming as all get out, right? Well, Alex didn't look like the little guy. He was adorable with dark hair, and he had that charming personality. And as he grew, I just didn't quite get him. And we clashed. I'd try to praise him for skateboarding, and he would go, ugh. And he would just kind of be frustrated with me, and I was frustrated with him. We both knew we loved each other very much, and we both enjoyed spending time with each other, but sometimes the time we spent together got very frustrating. Other times it didn't. And so I wanted to get into that. I wanted to figure that out. And one day I was playing Monopoly. And you notice those little property cards in Monopoly, we've all played the game. They teach you how to treat the property and how to respect it and dignify it. Like you have to match these colors and you've got to build evenly. Oh, and if I mortgage the property, it tells me how to get it back. Think about that as a person. A lot of times we mortgage people, meaning that we keep pulling out all this emotional need from them, and they get exhausted. And they end up mortgaging it because they don't like the feeling of what it's like to be in our presence. And they just say, I'm done. Imagine if you knew how to get that back, how to flip that card back over so that we can both share in each other again. That was the metaphor in my head. How can I bond with this beautiful boy, to see him as he sees himself, and to honor him as he sees him, not as I want him to be? For example, I am enthusiastic. It's one of my top dignity traits. And that enthusiasm in me is contagious. I love it. My wife is enthusiastic too. Alex doesn't value that. And so I came across as mocking him accidentally. His ways are serious ways. And it was when he was 14 that the very first attempt to get this property card created for him, we accomplished it. And I learned that he was a goal setter and he was serious. And it changed our relationship. Because now I could approach him with more deep, thoughtful ways. I could get into more deeper conversations than I'm required to have for me. And I was able to see him as a beautiful kid he is. And today Alex is 24 years old, and he's evolved even from that time, of course. And I've been able to watch how his dignity has grown and how to respect that and honor that. And we truly enjoy each other's company. And so for today, I'd like to give that gift to you. Some of you out there perhaps have never experienced the invention that we created called Dignify, Dignify, just how the word is spelled, Dignify. It can be found at dignify.com. And if you're unfamiliar with it, I would just like to end this 4-part series with a gift to you to discover your dignity. And you can do that by going to dignify.com, and in the very top right, it will say Enter Code. All right, click on Enter Code, and the code you're going to enter is slow down. One word. Slow down, one word. I'll write that here. Put it right up here on the board. Here's the code. Slow down. All right? That will launch you into a short survey. I want you to be aware of how, once you put your name and stuff in there, how fast that survey is produced. Because it's your heart that's talking, it's your values. And then I want you to make sure, when you're all done, to scroll down. Keep scrolling down. You're going to discover beautiful paragraphs written just for you about your dignity, and what makes you special, what makes you unique. And it will give you your top 5 dignity traits that fuel fuel you to get past any hardships. Focus on that. On each trait is a little question mark. You're going to hover over the question mark, and it'll show you what's beautiful about that trait. And then under your little avatar thingy, which you're going to have, there'll be a print button. I want you to click the print button, and you can print your story. And you will see paragraphs and paragraphs about what make you awesome. Your dignity, the strength within to overcome. As we end this series, that's our gift for you. We hope you enjoy that. We hope you share that with others. And we hope that this series has been helpful to you. Have a great day.